Here's your 3-minute medical update.
Hello again, friends. This is your 5/5/20 daily coronavirus and health update. New cases of coronavirus continue to slow a decline from 27,000 new cases a day to about 24,000. Death rates are also continuing to decline, and you might notice on these graphs that I'm putting up a kind of an oscillating up and down trend about every 6 to 7 days. Now, I'm suspecting that this has been caused by the natural flow of medical care and reporting decreases over the weekend, somewhat like early trends in Arkansas showed greater reporting on Mondays with a weekend reporting lag, and I'll be digging into this a little more in coming days. Despite the fact that the New York Times even seems to be one of the worst offenders at trying to obscure any good news or encouraging news and touts anything that will make citizens seem to want to hermetize themselves, even their statistics are grudgingly showing this trend as well. And the percentage of patients with recovery continue to increase, and death rates as a percentage of cases continues to decrease. Arkansas continues to improve rapidly, for which I'm thankful, and all the measures of concern are trending toward the good now. In one of my favorite podcasts, Albert Mohler, who is a Southern Baptist theologian, has a very informative podcast called The Briefing. And this week I was listening to a podcast in mid-April that cited some studies and some articles that related to something I had been suspecting concerning the World Health Organization in China. He basically states and summarizes these studies in a 15-minute podcast, and this information that you see shows the following. It's now been known for well over a month, even in mid-April, that China and the World Health Organization together conspired to suppress the nature of the origin, human-to-human transmission, extent of the infection rates from COVID-19 in their country in 2019. Remember, this virus is named COVID-19 for a very good reason. It is known to have originated in Wuhan, China in 2019. In the first article cited, Taiwanese officials warned the World Health Organization on December the 31st that they had seen evidence that the virus could be transmitted human-to-human, but the World Health Organization agency, bowing to Beijing because it doesn't have a normal relationship with Taiwan, did what the Chinese government wanted. That was reported on April 6th in the Wall Street Journal. Lan He-Chen on April 9th said that while Washington pays, Beijing works behind the scenes to influence World Health Organization leadership. The current Director General, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, was backed strongly by the Chinese government during his campaign for the job. Under Mr. Tedros' leadership, the World Health Organization has accepted China's falsehoods about the coronavirus and helped launder them into respectable-looking public health assessments. Even the liberal Washington Post has had to admit the obvious. Their reporter Josh Rogan on April the 16th stated, "The State Department cables warned of safety issues at a Wuhan lab studying bat coronaviruses. In January of 2018, let me say that again, January of 2018, nearly 2 years before this outbreak, when the United States Embassy in Beijing took the unusual steps of repeatedly sending U.S. science diplomats to the Wuhan Institute of Virology, which, by the way, is about 300 yards from the wet market where this was reported to have started. And they dispatched 2 diplomatic cables to Washington. The cables warned about safety and management weaknesses at the lab and also warns that the lab's work on bat coronaviruses and their human potential transmission represented a risk of a new SARS-like pandemic. Well, guess what? 2 years later, aren't we all suffering because no one listened?" And another article from the Wall Street Journal by Walter Russell Mead from April the 13th. China still misleads the world. He states, China has concealed the fact that its number is greater than the total number of cases reported in the rest of the world. And you know, if you listen to the Monday 5/3 broadcast, that was 2.9 million more than likely rather than the 82,000 that they reported. He said that these data matter. The absence of accurate information from China makes it more difficult to know when it is safe to lift lockdowns. The world needs Beijing to tell the truth. Unfortunately, China can't level with the world without leveling to its own people. That is the one thing the Communist Party can never do. This confirms my concern for making predictions early on in the initial days, and why my initial trendline predictions had this ending by May the 1st with less than 400,000 cases in the U.S. and less than 1,200 cases in Arkansas. And it's why one of my early graph lines was called China, China, Pants on Fire. I'll see you in a few days.